All right, the time has come. The end is here. A journey we started all the way back in August. We've played 284 NFL football games this season, and it all comes down to this. Just two teams remaining seeking eternal glory on Sunday. Your Kansas City Chiefs looking to become the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls in nearly 20 years. Mahomes, Reed, Kelsey looking for ring number 3 to cement themselves in the pantheon of NFL legends. But standing in the way, your San Francisco 49ers, a team who's been to 4 NFC Championship games in the past 5 years, but ultimately have come up short and failed to bring home the hardware. Kyle Shanahan looking to shake away the demons. Mystery relevant turned Mr. Relevant Brock Purdy here to silence all the doubters. It should be an excellent game this Sunday. It's really one of the best matchups I think we've seen in a long time. And what a great game we had last year between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I think this game could live up to be even better than that one. But let's just hop on into it. I've been breaking teams down, ranking teams, going through it all season long. It comes down to this, my predictions for the Super Bowl. Okay, biggest matchup here. Obviously, we got to talk about things. It's Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes already in talks to being one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. If he can bring home ring number 3, I think this cements him in like the top 3 category. I think he goes by Peyton Manning here. He'll have more playoff wins. He's just that dude. He'll have the most Super Bowl rings, or he'll be tied with Brady for most rings under 30. He'll have 3 rings. It's incredible. He's entering the prime of his career. But we have a real mismatch. Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft, mystery relevant. Nobody thought he would find himself here, but in just 2 years as the 49ers starters, he's proven himself. Brock Purdy was excellent this regular season. We talked about how he was an MVP type candidate. Now, some people are going to say it's the supporting cast. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. Is he a top 5 quarterback? No, but is he in that 15 to 10 range? Probably. He knows how to game manage, and he's shown the past 2 weeks that he's got that clutch factor. Backs up against the wall against the Packers and the Lions. He's played big in the second half, made big plays with his legs, made big plays with his arms, and got his team to this spot. I think Kyle Shanahan trusts him to go out there and air this football out and go make some plays. Obviously, we have the greatest quarterback of a generation lined up on the other side. It's a really interesting matchup. Let's get into the Niners defense. The Niners defense has been a unit that was really strong in the regular season. They leaned on that pass rush. They have an elite linebacking core, but we've known they've had some difficulties on the back end in that secondary. They've given up some big pass plays, but what we've really seen in this postseason is they have not been sharp. They've been getting gashed on the ground. Green Bay kind of killed them on the outside. Detroit absolutely slaughtered this team in the first half. I don't know why they went away from this running game. They've really struggled. Now, they've been really strong at forcing turnovers to get themselves back into the game. And Nick Bosa came on against Detroit at the end there, picked up a couple of sacks. I think this defensive line is really going to have to step it up against a Kansas City offensive line that's been playing much better. I mean, Mahomes did not trust his tackles at all in the regular season, but they've been playing much better in the postseason. The big thing, the difference is with this offense, they've established a run game. They have really leaned on Isaiah Pacheco, who runs like an absolute madman out there. If you were to ask him if he could run through an actual brick wall, I think Pacheco might say yes. He's absolutely an insane runner of the football, and this has helped even out the offense. Let's not kid ourselves. The Chiefs' offense has been shit all year, and they really haven't been that blown away in the postseason. Kind of struggled in the red zone against Miami in like 2 to negative 10-degree weather. They were okay against Buffalo, but really nothing in the second half, and they got shut out in the second half against Baltimore's defense. Now, Baltimore's defense is elite, and this Niners unit is nowhere close to that Ravens unit. But they haven't been blowing everybody away with these offensive performances. But what they have done is controlled the clock, controlled the pace of play, and they've dominated time of possession, and they get scores when they need to get scores. I think Frisco is really up against it on this defensive front. If they can get some pressure with just their front four, I think they'll have some success. But the linebacking core and the secondary, they play a lot of zone. Travis Kelce is going to eat up this zone, folks. Travis Kelce feeling rejuvenated in the playoffs. He's playing like the old Travis Kelce monster the last 2 games. And I don't know if he can give you 4 quarters, but he can probably give you 3 quarters. If you get 3 quarters of an elite tight end in Travis Kelce, it's going to be problems for Frisco. They're going to really have to shade him with Fred Warner or Greenlaw. They're going to have to adjust and force these mediocre to bad wide receivers to keep making plays. Now, they've made plays in the last 2 games. MVS, monster catches. Rashee Rice is really coming on, but he's more of your little like short, quick route and then let him take off and expose people. Kadarius Toney, we're not even going to get into Kadarius Toney here. Crazy man here. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for this Niners defense to make big plays against this Chiefs offense. But if they can't slow down Pacheco and they can't slow down this running game, I do think it could be a long afternoon for them. But on the flip side here, we have a Chiefs defense that's been elite. I mean, we're talking the elite of the elite. And as far as Chiefs defenses are concerned, by far the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever played with in any level of his career. They've been outstanding on the back end. They have lockdown corners that can go follow your guy and take away your weapons. Chris Jones is just a complete game wrecker in the middle. He's going to get himself paid this offseason. They make life so difficult for you. They held this explosive Ravens offense to 3 points in the second half. And I mean, the game was basically over when they gave up that field goal. They forced turnovers. Now, they have been known to give up yards, but they make big plays in big spots. They get 3-and-outs. They get off the field on third down. That's the biggest difference from this team this year. And I don't think enough credit has been given to defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. He has been lights out calling his defense. He's been there for years now. He's developed all these guys. They're all comfortable in this system. This is a stout unit that seems to play better as the games goes on. But on the flip side, we have Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense. And this offense was the best offense in football, in my opinion, in the regular season. They were absolutely electric. They just give you so many options to deal with. You really kind of struggle to get a good pass rush against them. The 49ers have good offensive line play. Now, they're a little bit weaker in the middle, where we could have some issues with Chris Jones here, but Brock Purdy has really elevated his running game, mobility, extending plays. That's been massive for the 49ers in these second half comebacks. We all know Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in football. They're going to have to lean on him. I don't think enough has been talked about how the Ravens only ran the ball 6 times with running backs last week, and the Chiefs' run defense has not been great in the postseason. Kind of just whatever, man. You can run on this Chiefs defense. I think that's going to be their main priority. They're going to have to focus on stopping Christian McCaffrey, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I don't think enough people are giving credit to what this 49ers run game has been, and McCaffrey is just so explosive, and he makes you really pay for any sort of slip up. He doesn't need big holes to fit through. And let's not forget the Niners, Deebo Samuel. You run Deebo, good things happen. Deebo played in that NFC Championship game coming back from injury. Didn't really play in the divisional round, was awesome in that game when they got him the ball. He's just a massive X factor. He can hand the ball to him. You can get him the ball quick on screens, underneath routes, let him go make a play, and he just makes plays, man. Brock Purdy got to be a little bit more consistent with the football. He's had a lot of turnover-worthy plays in the postseason so far. You got to cut down on those because the man on the other side isn't going to turn the ball over. Mahomes hasn't turned the ball over in 6 straight playoff games. That's an NFL record. You have to hang on to this football. Also, let's not forget my man Kittle, maybe the best, most complete tight end in the NFL right now, blocking and catching the football. He's an elite run blocker, and he's an excellent pass catcher and route runner. Have to find that safety valve. I think he can work against these Chiefs second level unit. They're not the best in the world. Now, obviously, they are a very talented group, but I think there's going to be opportunities for Kittle to expose some of these drop coverages. They're not going to let you hit the big play, Kansas City. They're going to make you work it down the field. That's very conducive for a George Kittle type game. Hit him for 6, hit him for 7, hit him for 12. They're not going to let you hit Ayuk downfield 12 yards. You're going to have McDuffie probably following Ayuk all day. Now, here's a little bit of a consistency matchup. The Niners are one of the most motion teams pre-snap in the NFL this year. Kansas City played the most motion team. That's the Miami Dolphins. It's the same offense. Mike McDaniel runs the Kyle Shanahan offense, and the Chiefs defense had a lot of success against the Dolphins. Now, one of those games was like in negative 12-degree weather, like I said, in the playoffs, and Tyreek Hill had one big burner play in that game. Other than that, they totally shut it down. Do I think San Francisco is a much better version of this Dolphins offense? I do, but they've had a lot of success stopping these type of offense. They don't seem to struggle with the motion going around. But again, running the football is the bread and butter of the 49ers, where I don't think the Dolphins had that quite in their arsenal, at least on a consistent basis this season. I think that's going to be the key to this game. If Christian McCaffrey has a big game, I think the Chiefs could be in trouble and San Francisco looking at a big lead. Now, what's it going to look like? San Francisco has started slow in each of the last two games in the playoffs, and that concerns me. Kansas City's come out fast. They put points on the board. They eat clock, and they kind of slow it down in the second half. But the Niners tend to do the opposite. They start slow, and they build and build to that fourth quarter. But the Chiefs' defense has been elite in the second halves down the stretch, man. They shut out everybody. They aren't giving up points. They are locking people down. So this could really be a chess match here. If Kansas City builds a big enough lead, we could find Frisco in real trouble here, trying to claw back against a good Kansas City defense. Now, if the game's close, I really like San Francisco in that spot. If we can get a halftime in a 3-point game, I think that very much benefits the 49ers. The biggest question is head coaching wise. Andy Reid is not going to panic in this game. They're going to play this game. They're not going to let the emotions get to them. We saw the emotions get to Baltimore 2 weeks ago against Kansas City, and it probably ultimately cost them that game. I don't know if we're going to have that issue with Frisco here. Kyle Shanahan's been in this spot before. He's blown 2 Super Bowls in the fourth quarter. He's blown a Super Bowl by being too conservative and blown a Super Bowl by not being conservative enough. So I don't know if Shanahan has it in him to make the right mix, push the right buttons, make the right decisions to close out these games if the Niners do find themselves with a lead. And ultimately, if you find Patrick Mahomes with the ball in a one-score game late, they struggled all season to do it, but he has been absolutely ice water, and they've gotten it done in this postseason. They've made the plays when they've had to. They've converted the first downs to seal games, put it away. It's just a scary proposition. Kicker-wise, I don't love Jake Moody. I mean, the kicker for Moody, is that the kicker for Frisco? I don't know. He's terrible. I don't trust him. I have a real big philosophy on rookie kickers on championship teams. Don't do it. We saw him miss a field goal against Detroit. Now, will he be more comfortable indoors? Possibly. Butker, he'll hit a 55-yarder and miss a 43-yarder. That's just kind of what Butker is. Long, big clutch kicks. I ain't worried about Butker. Obviously has a game winner last year at a chip shot. So I think that kind of gives a nice edge to Kansas City. Special teams could be a big factor in this game. If you have a block punt, run back a punt, that could really flip momentum in this game. And a game that I think it's going to be a real premium to score points. I think the teams are going to be able to move the balls between the 30 to the 40s. They're going to be able to move the football, kind of get past midfield, and then probably struggle against these two defenses. Maybe a lot of field goals. I kind of like the over proposition on field goals here. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle when it's all said and done when you look at the scoreboard. I think this is a really close game. San Francisco is favored in this game. I think this game probably should be a pick'em, but they don't do pick'ems anymore. That's how close I think this game is. I've gone through it all season. I've thought this thing out. I have to make my pick. Let's run the tape. All right, your first number 1 team of the year, and it's your San Francisco 49ers. What can you say about this 49ers team? Okay, there's no question about this one. The 49ers, number 1. They haven't moved. They've been number 1 since week 1. This team is just so complete, so hungry for a title. Kyle Shanahan has been obsessing about this Super Bowl. I just don't see anybody stopping this Niners team. I feel like an idiot picking against Mahomes. I said it last week. You should never bet against Mahomes. You have to pick against Mahomes. They have to be beaten before you can do it.